What's up, guys? It's Carter, and I'm back with another video. This one's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and do a meal prep video. I've been kind of putting this one off for a little while because it's a super pain in the ass. Usually when I am meal prepping, I just want to get it done. But I felt like it could be a useful video, so I decided to do it and stop putting it off. So I apologize in advance because it's a little lengthy, but hopefully it does help some people out there. But before we get started, I just want to say that I follow loosely the basic principles of the vertical diet, and I eat a lot of whole foods. Currently I'm cutting, so I'm eating really clean at the moment. So I hope you guys have a few takeaways, maybe a few things that you can use in your meal prep. And I hope you guys enjoy the video. So my usual go-to proteins for meal prepping is usually top sirloin steak, ground bison, and usually salmon. And then sometimes I'll mix in some eggs, scrambled eggs with the Monster Mash or with some of my other meals. So these are just some great proteins, very nutrient-dense proteins. I do a lot of red meat, but I do lean red meat to limit the saturated fat. And then I like to mix in, some fish, usually salmon for those omega-3s. And of course, eggs are a very good source of protein. But for this video, I'm just going to be making some steak, and I'll probably scramble up some eggs to mix into some of the meals. And then we'll mix it up with the veggies, some sweet potatoes, some potatoes, and some white rice. Alright, so I got these meal prep containers that people commonly use. I got these at Costco, pretty huge pack of them, 38-ounce containers, so plenty big to get enough food in there. I generally eat 4 meals per day. I usually will eat 1 at home, and then I eat 3 while I'm at work. I work 12.5-hour shifts, either 2 to 3 days in a row, so I'll make usually anywhere from 6 meals to 9 meals, depending on how many days I'm working. So that's what I use for containers, but you can use anything. I just find it easy when you have to use the same container. If you're going to be weighing food, it makes it a lot easier. You're not having to tear the different weights of the containers you're using. So whatever you use, it's good to use the same one. Now, I usually eat rice with most of my meals, and I find one of the easiest ways to make rice is in a rice cooker or the Instant Pot. And it works just like a rice cooker. I get these big bags of rice from Costco, and they're pretty cheap and they'll last a long time. And then instead of water, I use chicken bone broth just to add some nutrients and some protein to the meals, and it adds some flavor as well. So I usually will put my dry rice into the colander here, the strainer, and then I will wash off some of that starch, and it makes it, the rice a little more fluffy, a little more sticky and soft, so that's why I do that. Alright, so I prefer basmati rice, but use whatever you want. And I usually just get, depending on, like I said, how many meals I'm going to make. And I'm going to do 2 cups of rice. So I like to rinse my rice. I'll throw it in the strainer here. Usually fill up a container with some water just because it seems to rinse it a little bit better. And just drop it in there. And just work it around. Just wash off all that starch that's on there. Really keeps the rice fluffy and sticky. Keeps it from getting hard once it gets cold. For meal prepping, that's pretty important. And I'll switch out this water here. You can see it's pretty cloudy. And then I usually do it again and then go ahead and put it in the Instant Pot. All right, now that the rice is rinsed off, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the Instant Pot. Now I set it for 4 minutes on pressure cook, and that seems to do the trick. That's just telling me it's on. I usually take a little bit of non-stick spray in the bottom here, and then go ahead and add that rice. And then, like I said, we're going to use chicken bone broth instead of water. So we use 2 cups of dry rice. I'm going to use 2 cups of chicken bone broth. And that's all that's left. And we can go ahead and seal it up, make sure the valve is in the right position. So we can set that and forget it and move on with the rest of the meal prep. All right, so while the rice is cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and prep up some of these steaks. I'm not gonna be using all these steaks, so the ones I don't use, I'm just gonna throw in a freezer bag and go ahead and freeze for next time. All right, so these are pretty thick steaks. So I go ahead and just cut them right down the middle, thin them out so they cook a little more evenly and a little more quickly. Now, steak usually is not great to reheat. However, I find if I just, after I cook them, I cut them up, dice them up kind of like in small pieces, that it cooks a lot better when you reheat it. It doesn't get as tough. So just a tip there. All right, rice is done. Hit the little valve to release the steam. The way I like to prep my steaks is I like to use kosher salt. Apparently, I've heard that it doesn't dry the steak out as much as regular salt. A little bit of pepper if it comes out. I'll also use a little bit of garlic powder just to add a little flavor. And then I'll flip them over and do the same thing on the other side. All right, now I'm gonna be cooking these in the air fryer. So I like to warm up my air fryer just so it's hot when I put them in there already. And so I'll let it run for a couple minutes, and then I'm just gonna rub in the seasoning that I put on the steaks. All right, now that's been heating up for a couple minutes. Go ahead and pause it. And I like to hit it with a little bit of non-stick. It's already a non-stick surface. And then I'm gonna go ahead, you can see, and place a couple steaks in there. And I'm gonna put it up to 10 minutes and let it do its thing. And then I'm gonna pause it about halfway through, go ahead and flip them over. I'm gonna come in and fluff up this rice with a fork a little bit. It's nice and fluffy. All right, while those are cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and scramble up some eggs just to add into some of the meals. Again, a little non-stick. I usually just go ahead and scramble them right in the pan. And I usually do about 1 egg per meal. This is just for a little added protein, a little added nutrients. All right, so 6 will do. Go ahead and scramble these bad boys up. And I like to use a spatula to cook them. It just gets all that egg that starts to stick to the sides. Alright, now these are almost done, and it's almost time to flip our steaks. We're about halfway through, but I'll give them another minute while these eggs finish. Time to flip these steaks. Use these pieces of this. Let those finish off, and while those steaks finishing cooking, I'm going to throw in some of these just microwavable sweet potatoes and put them in there for 7 to 8 minutes. I usually do 8. And then I also have some of these red and white potatoes that I'm going to put into this bowl and also microwave and steam them. So that's really quick for the potatoes. Doesn't take very long. Alright, so the steaks are done. Let me zoom that out. And, you know, they come out pretty good. A little bit of a sear to them. You know, I'd rather have them on the grill or even cast iron, but the air fryer does pretty well. Next best thing. And it's pretty quick if you don't want to go outside and fire up that grill. It is not a bad option. So we're going to go ahead and put it on 10 minutes for these ones too, and keep it moving. Get it up close of the steaks. Looking pretty good. We're going to let them rest for a little while. We don't want to cut them too early because then all the juices will just run out of them and we're left with dry steak. So let them rest like about 10 minutes, probably until we finish cooking all these steaks, and then we'll go ahead and cut them up. Alright, and since the rice is done, we're waiting on this other food, I'm going to go ahead and start weighing out some of the rice for the containers. And I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with food scales, but if you're not, super easy to use. So you just turn it on, and you can put your container on there like that, and then hit tare and it zeroes it out. Or you can just turn it on with the container already on there, and it automatically zeroes it out. So like I said, all these containers are the same, so they all weigh the same. So that does make it a little bit easier. So right now I'm cutting, and so I don't want to go too heavy on the rice. And I'm also adding potatoes to it too, so I don't want to go crazy with it. I'm about to do about 100 grams. It's 102, that's good. There we go. You know, I like white rice because it's a you know, pretty much goes with anything, but also it digests quickly. It's readily available to be used as energy in this form of carbohydrates, and it's just easy to make, and it tastes good. So like I said, we'll be adding potatoes to this as well. I like to also use sweet potatoes for pre-workout complex carbohydrates. So that's usually what my pre-workout meal will consist of. And looks like our sweet potatoes are done. I'm not going to mess with them yet, but I will take them out, let them cool off. Now I'm going to go ahead and prep these potatoes. And these are super easy. These ones from the Little Potato Company already come washed, so you gotta worry about washing them, because that's a pain. And I'm not going crazy with the potatoes. Like I said, we already have rice, so I'm just adding some potato for a little extra carb and potassium, and it tastes good too. So might as well make all these. There's not much in the bag left. And I'm not going to put this lid on completely. I want to leave a little bit of room there so it doesn't blow up. So the last thing I need is glass in my potatoes. And I'm going to put it on 6 minutes because I can't remember what I usually put it on for that. And we'll check them. Alright, these potatoes are almost done, so I'm going to go ahead and check them. Alright, so this thing gets super hot. But looks like they're steaming pretty good. I'm just going to take a fork, give them a little poke. They're still pretty hard, so I'll put them in for another 3 minutes. These sweet potatoes have been sitting here for a minute. And I'll go ahead and cut these open so they don't overcook. And while we're waiting on those potatoes and the steaks to finish, I'm going to start divvying up some of these scrambled eggs. Now those steaks finished. I'd already flipped them. Now, let them rest for a minute. This with a little more spray. And cook these last 2. Alright, so I really only need 1 of these, or 2 of these, to be pre-workout meals. Those are the ones that I add sweet potato to. And I'll just cut the ends off. And usually they peel up pretty good, but not so much tonight. So I'll just throw the whole thing in there. Maybe they just need to cool off a little bit. That's looking pretty good. And these other potatoes seem to be done. So let's go check on those. And this is already a pain in the ass meal prepping. It's an extra pain in the ass recording it. I think this is why I put this video off for so long, because a lot of times I just want to get it done and relax, because I've been running around all day and then I got to work the next couple days. So, but felt like it could be a useful video. So these have been cooking a total of 8 minutes or 9 minutes, and they're cooked pretty well now, pretty soft. So I'll leave them over here, let them cool off a little bit, and these steaks should be about done now. Got a couple minutes left on those. Alright, so the last of these steaks just finished. Those ones seared up nice. And I'll put this aside to wash it. But these came out pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and start cutting up some of the ones that came out first. Alright, so these ones came out first here, then these came out last, so I'm going to go ahead and cut up these ones. You can see all these juices collecting. Delicious. Delicious. Alright, now I washed my butcher knife. And just gonna go ahead and start dicing it up. I'm no master chef or culinary artist, so whatever. Y'all can trash me in the comments if you want. I'm just doing what I gotta do to eat healthy and get these gains. So usually I like a little more pink than that, but that's fine. It doesn't matter because once I reheat it in the microwave, it's all gonna be fully cooked anyway. All right, so I'll go ahead and start putting the steak into some of these meals. I'll start with the pre-workout meals. And actually I'm gonna switch it over to ounces because I like to do about 2 servings of steak, which is about 6 ounces. So, you know, my hands are washed. I just grab it. Seems to be the best way to do it. That puts me right at 6. And hopefully we got enough for all these meals here. Let me re-tear this. All right. And that's right there. It's good. And I get to eat a little bit. That's the thing, not being able to, not eating all the steak while you're sitting here preparing it. I've done that before. Sit there, start eating, snacking on the steak, and then I don't have enough for my meals, and I'm kind of screwed. All right, so I went ahead and cut all that up. I zeroed my scale back out. Start adding some steak. Zero that back out. Six ounces. And we're going steak crazy for these meals here. Get that last meal. Alright, so we got 6 meals here. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a few of the potatoes to these 4 meals here, and then we'll add some veggies. Alright, now I'm not going to weigh this out. I'm just going to grab probably about 4 potatoes and put them in each one. What I do for veggies is the most simple thing. I just use frozen vegetables. I got these mixed vegetables for my pre-workout meals because it's kind of more carb-heavy vegetables to make sure I got enough carbohydrates for my workout. And then I usually use these ones for the other meals. And all I do is just pour them directly in, and I'll weigh them out, but these don't have to be super accurate. Vegetables are pretty low in calories. I just want to make sure I get enough vegetables for, you know, the nutrients and a little bit of fiber. So about 100 grams. And these vegetables here from Costco are really good. They taste like they're off the grill. You got some summer squash and broccoli and peppers and onions. A whole bunch of stuff. Pairs really well with the steak. Alright guys, and there you have it. I have 6 meals here. Like I said, just threw the frozen vegetables in there. They'll thaw out and help cool off some of this other food, so we can go ahead and package it up, put it in the fridge so it's ready to go. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the video. I appreciate you watching. Go ahead and hit that like button for me if you made it this far. The Carter Home Gym is primarily a home gym strength and fitness channel, but nutrition is very important if we're going to keep making gains in the gym. So that's why I decided to do this video, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.